everyone, I'm Lily, and I'm super excited to have you here. Welcome to our channel, Easy Peasy English. If you want to learn English the easy way and speak confidently in real life, you're in the right place. Let's get started with Ryan before you go.
Hi guys, I'm Ryan.
Don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Imagine you're walking into like a really crowded room.
Okay, setting the scene.
Yeah, and maybe it's a networking event for a new job, or, you're taking a seat in a completely unfamiliar classroom. Or maybe you just arrived at a friend's dinner party and you don't know a single soul there.
Oh, that immediate awful dread. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right, and the environment doesn't even actually matter because the physiological response is exactly the same. Someone turns to you, gives you that polite little smile, and drops the absolute dreaded prompt.
Let me guess. Tell me about yourself.
Yes, tell me about yourself. It's totally paralyzing.
It is the universal social nightmare. I mean, your heart rate spikes and you just suddenly completely forget everything you've ever accomplished in your life.
Why does that happen, though? Why does such a simple, everyday request instantly make our minds go completely blank?
It's wild, isn't it?
It really is. In like a fraction of a second, you forget where you live, what you do for a living, and whether or not you actually possess any human hobbies at all.
You're just standing there internally scrambling.
Exactly. Wondering if you should, recite your entire professional resume or just say your name and awkwardly stare at them until they look away.
Well, it really boils down to the paradox of the open-ended question. The prompt is just so unimaginably broad that it triggers a massive cognitive overload.
Cognitive overload.
Yeah, because we feel like we're suddenly being tested on the entirety of our own existence. And since we don't know what the other person is actually looking for, we just freeze.
We try to compress a lifetime of data into a 10-second elevator pitch, which is, mathematically impossible.
Precisely.
So today, our mission on this deep dive is to completely dismantle that exact moment of panic. We are going to transform that freeze response into a seamless, highly effective opportunity for connection.
And we have some truly excellent grounding material for this today.
We do. We're breaking down some genuinely fascinating source material from a structured masterclass in conversational English. It's from the Mr. English channel, and we're going to analyze the anatomy of an exchange between two speakers, Paul and Emily.
And looking closely at what Paul and Emily are demonstrating, it reveals something much deeper than just a standard language lesson.
Yeah, they aren't just practicing vocabulary here.
Not at all. They are actively decoding a through-proof modular structure for introducing yourself in literally any social scenario. It's basically a masterclass in social signaling.
It really feels like they've cracked the code on how to be a functioning human in public. And the core of it is this fundamental mindset shift.
Right, shifting away from the panic.
Exactly. Instead of viewing Tell Me About Yourself as this high-stakes pop quiz that you can fail, this framework helps you view the prompt as a welcoming invitation.
A menu of invitations, really. It gives you a structured way to offer up highly specific pieces of your life just to see what organically resonates with the person standing in front of you.
So let's start building that structure. The first phase they demonstrate is what you might call establishing the core foundation.
The absolute baseline facts of who you are.
Right. Because before you can get into your deepest thoughts or your philosophical views or like your weekend plans, you have to establish those starting coordinates.
The listener's brain actually needs that context to place you in reality. Without pouring that concrete foundation, any other detail you share is just kind of floating in a void. You have to ground the conversation.
Totally. And in our source material, Paul starts right at those basics. He establishes his age. He says he's 28 years old.
Okay, good start.
Then he notes his geography, explaining that he's originally from Canada, but he currently lives in the United States. And he doesn't just leave it at the country level, which I found interesting.
What does he add?
He adds that he lives in a small, quiet house that has a garden. And then finally, he drops his profession. He's an English teacher.
That is a highly efficient transfer of data right there.
Right. And then Emily counters with her own foundational stats. She's 25 years old. She lives in a big, noisy, busy city, and she's a student who studies art.
Okay, so we have two very distinct profiles.
Yeah. And looking at these two introductions, my immediate thought is that this feels incredibly similar to a video game character creation screen.
Oh, that's a great way to think about it. The baseline stats before the actual campaign begins.
Yes. You have to choose your starting class, your starting location, and your level. Are you a 28-year-old teacher in a quiet garden house or a 25-year-old art student in a loud city?
It sets the stage perfectly.
It does, but I actually have to push back on this approach a little bit.
Oh, why is that?
Well, if someone genuinely asks me to tell them about myself, isn't just rattling off my name, my age, and my job a little bit robotic? I mean, it sounds like I'm just reading the text right off my driver's license.
I get that. And honestly, that fear of sounding robotic is usually what causes people to overcomplicate their introductions in the first place.
You try to be too clever.
Exactly. But the source material illustrates that these foundational basics aren't meant to carry the whole conversation. They're simply the anchors.
So they're just the starting point.
Right. And what prevents it from sounding like a driver's license is the highly specific, descriptive contrast they include in those environments.
You're talking about the quiet house versus the busy city thing.
Yes. Consider the cognitive difference there. When Emily mentioned she lives in a big, noisy, busy city, and Paul counters with a small, quiet house with a garden, they are immediately painting a vivid visual scene.
That makes sense. You're not just processing demographic data anymore.
You're picturing a physical environment. By offering those specific atmospheric details, they provide the very first conversational hooks.
Oh, wow. That is a subtle but massive difference. Because if I just stand there and say, I live in the US, that's effectively a dead end.
Right. What is someone supposed to say to that? Cool, me too.
Exactly. But if I say I live in a small, quiet house with a garden, suddenly I've given you a thread to pull. You can easily ask, oh, what do you grow in your garden? Or do you enjoy the quiet?
The core foundation sets the stage and offers low-stakes, immediate invitations for the other person to engage. It basically solves the open-ended paradox by giving the listener multiple distinct paths they can choose to walk down.
I love that. So if geography and age ground us, the next phase of the architecture colors us in. We move from where we are to who surrounds us.
Adding relational color through family and pets.
Right, because as social creatures, the company we keep and how we describe them transmits a massive amount of subtle information about our own identities.
Oh, absolutely.
And the details Paul and Emily share in this section are incredibly granular. Emily shares that she has a 29-year-old older brother named Tom. Her mom is a teacher who works specifically with little children.
Very specific.
And her dad is a chef, which she explicitly points out means there is always delicious food at home.
Now, I might actually argue that if someone delivered that entire family tree uninterrupted at a cocktail party, it would border on oversharing.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot of raw data to process all at once.
I see what you mean, but I think the source is giving us the raw material to work with so we can see the full picture.
That's a fair point.
Let's look at Paul's side of the family to compare. He has a younger sister named Sarah who studies music specifically. She plays the piano. His mom is a writer, and his dad is a doctor.
Okay, so already we have these two very distinct populated worlds.
Exactly. But the part of this relational phase that I find the most strategically brilliant is when they bring up their pets.
Discussing pets is arguably one of the most effective social tools in existence.
It really is. It instantly lowers the stakes of any interaction.
Completely.
So Paul has a dog and Emily has a cat. But the genius here isn't just stating the species, it's the barrage of descriptive adjectives they use. Listeners should absolutely steal this tactic.
What words do they use?
Paul describes his dog, Max, as a small, brown, happy, friendly, and loyal dog.
See, you immediately conjure a mental image of a little brown dog wagging its tail at the front door.
You really do. And then Emily talks about her cat, Luna. Luna is black and white. And the specific adjectives Emily chooses are sleepy, quiet, elegant, and independent.
I like that.
Right. An elegant, independent cat. I just love that framing.
Analyzing why family and pets are such conversational gold mines brings us straight into signaling theory, actually.
Signaling theory. How so?
Well, when Emily and Paul share these highly curated details, they are moving the introduction from purely biographical facts into the realm of personal values. They're using subtext.
Okay, so talking about the cat isn't actually just about the cat.
Seldom is it just about the animal.
Oh.
Think about it. When Emily notes that she's an art student and Paul mentions his sister is a music student and his mom is a writer, they are explicitly highlighting that their families are creative.
Oh, wow.
They're telling you that they value creativity and the arts. Furthermore, when you actively choose words like elegant and independent to describe your pet or happy and loyal, you are broadcasting the specific traits that you notice and appreciate in the world.
That is such a clever way to reveal your own temperament without just bluntly stating it. Like, By saying I have a sleepy, quiet cat, I'm indirectly signaling that I probably enjoy a calm, low-key home environment.
Exactly. You're setting the vibe of your life for the other person.
It acts as a non-threatening mirror. Plus, from a pure mechanics standpoint, asking about someone's pet or following up on a quirky family detail is universally considered polite and engaging.
It disarms people.
Yeah.
It totally removes the pressure of talking strictly about work or the weather.
Okay, so we've poured our foundation and we've populated the world with relational color. The framework then naturally flows into the realm of personal autonomy.
Right, transitioning from our circumstances to what we actively choose to do.
What we do with our time and our taste buds. We're looking at hobbies, favorites, and surprisingly, dislikes.
This phase is where the individual personality truly differentiates itself from the background.
Starting with favorites, the source material keeps the categories beautifully universal. Colors and food.
Can't go wrong there.
Paul loves the color blue, and he specifically compares it to the sky. His favorite food is vegetable pizza, and he makes sure to list his exact toppings. Tomatoes, peppers, and onions.
And see, the inclusion of the specific toppings is the crucial mechanism there.
Really? Why the toppings?
I think I like pizza is a conversational cul-de-sac. Almost everyone on Earth likes pizza.
That's true.
But specifying tomatoes, peppers, and onions gives the answer a unique texture. It gives the listener something specific to agree or disagree with.
That's a great point. Now, Emily loves the color green, comparing it to nature, and her absolute favorite food is pasta.
Classic.
From there, they move into how they spend their free time. Emily says she paints every weekend because it helps her relax, and she loves reading adventure stories.
Very on brand for the art student.
Definitely. Paul is presented as a bit more active. He plays soccer on Saturdays with his friends, he listens to old rock music, and he loves watching comedy and animated movies.
It creates a very comprehensive, dynamic, and undeniably positive picture of their day-to-day lives.
It really does. But then, the source material introduces a structural twist that I really wasn't expecting at all.
The dislikes.
Yes. After listing all these positive attributes, they deliberately talk about what they don't like.
The strategic deployment of the mild dislike. I love this part.
Paul admits that he dislikes the taste of olives, and he really dislikes waiting in long lines. Emily shares that she dislikes spicy food, and she absolutely hates waking up early because she is fundamentally not a morning person.
Highly relatable.
Very. But let's debate this for a second, because this feels a bit risky to me. If we're trying to make a stellar first impression, shouldn't our goal be, like, relentless positivity? Why would we introduce negativity into a brand new relationship?
Well, relentless positivity often backfires in social situations.
It does. I was trying to wrap my head around why, and the only analogy I could come up with was the concept of negative space in a painting.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, in art, the empty space or the shadows around the subject actually define the edges of what you're looking at. They give the subject its shape.
That analogy perfectly captures the psychology of social bonding, actually. If you only ever list the things you love, and you maintain this flawless, unfailingly positive facade, you risk coming across as somewhat sterile.
Like a robot again.
Yeah. It feels less like a real conversation and more like you're reciting a carefully scrubbed corporate PR statement.
You sound like an AI trying to simulate a perfect human.
Exactly. The moment you introduce a mild friction point admitting, you know what, I really despise waiting in long lines, or I am definitely not a morning person, you prove that you are a tangible human being with actual quirks. You show the edges of your painting.
So there is true authenticity in hating olives.
There is. It builds instant authenticity through shared commiseration. I mean, almost every human being on Earth dislikes standing in a long line.
Seriously, the worst.
And countless people can relate to wanting to hit the snooze button at 6 in the morning. By offering a mild, universal dislike, you are actively inviting the other person to agree with you in a safe way.
Ah, I see.
Oh, I completely agree. I hate waking up early too. You've instantly aligned yourselves against a common, harmless enemy.
It's a brilliant form of safe vulnerability. You aren't trauma dumping or complaining about anything heavy. You're just bonding over the universal annoyance of a spicy pepper or an early alarm clock. It makes you immediately approachable.
The key word there is mild. Hating olives builds rapport. Hating a specific demographic of people ruins the party.
Yes, very important distinction.
The source material carefully curates dislikes that are sensory or situational, never deeply philosophical.
All right, let's zoom out for a second and assess the sheer amount of data we've gathered from this source material.
It's a lot.
We have a name, place of residence, age, Job, family structure, pet descriptions, favorite colors and foods, weekend hobbies, and mild dislikes.
I like the list.
Here's my practical concern, though. If I try to combine all of those elements into one single answer the next time someone says, "Tell me about yourself," I am going to end up delivering a 3-minute hostage situation monologue.
Oh, absolutely. The listener's eyes would glaze over before you even got to your favorite pizza toppings.
Right.
It would just be an overwhelming cognitive load.
They would slowly back out of the room. So how do we practically apply this vast array of information in the real world without talking someone's ear off?
This brings us to the ultimate overarching lesson of the source material. It introduces the golden rule of context.
Context is everything.
The crucial tip provided is explicitly this: you do not need to say everything at one time.
Oh, what a massive relief.
Right. What Paul and Emily have actually built in this exercise is a comprehensive menu. The strategy is to curate a select few items from that menu based entirely on the specific social scenario you are navigating.
A curated menu of traits. I love that. And the source material provides 2 fantastic examples of this contextual tailoring in action.
Let's hear them.
Let's look at scenario 1, which we can categorize as the classroom or professional setting. Paul's curated introduction for this specific room is incredibly tight. He says, "My name is Paul. I'm from the United States. I like to learn new things."
Now, analyzing what he chose to omit is just as important as what he included here.
Oh, definitely.
He left out the dog, the vegetable pizza, and his aversion to olives. Because in a professional or academic setting, the primary objective is establishing relevance to the shared environment.
So, I like to learn new things is the perfect contextual breadcrumb for a classroom.
Exactly. It signals that he understands the assignment of the room.
Now contrast that with scenario 2, which is the party or casual setting.
Yeah.
Emily's curated example for this environment is simply, "Hi, I'm Emily. I love to paint and listen to music."
Once again, beautifully tailored to the context. She didn't lead with her brother's exact age or the noise level of her city. She led with her passions. Because in a casual social setting, people are actively searching for shared interest to spark a fun, low-stakes conversation.
And the source material makes a point to note that this selective curated sharing naturally prompts the absolute easiest follow-up questions.
It does the heavy lifting for the other person.
Yes. If Emily says, "I love to paint and listen to music," the other person doesn't have to scramble or panic to find a topic. The conversation naturally, effortlessly flows to, "Oh, what kind of things do you paint?" or "What music do you like?"
Synthesizing this entire masterclass, the core takeaway is that a successful introduction should always prioritize being simple, clear, and friendly.
And delivered with a smile, as the source explicitly points out.
Yes, never forget the smile. The goal of Tell Me About Yourself is never to summarize your entire life story from birth to the present day. The goal is to offer a few carefully curated invitations for the other person to ask a follow-up question.
It's essentially conversational ping pong. You don't want to spike the ball in their face with a massive monologue. You just want to serve the ball over the net in a way that makes it incredibly easy for them to hit it back.
A perfectly weighted serve that keeps the rally going.
So as we look back at the journey we've taken today, we started with that universal, heart-stopping panic of a dreaded social prompt.
We've all been there.
But by breaking down Paul and Emily's structured approach, we've essentially mapped out the anatomy of a perfect introduction.
We poured the concrete with the core foundation, our basic stats and circumstances, utilizing visual contrast like a quiet house or a busy city to give the listener's brain an anchor.
Then we brought the scene to life by adding relational color. We talked about family dynamics and pets, learning to lean heavily into descriptive adjectives like an elegant cat or a loyal dog, to subtly broadcast our personal values and lifestyle without bragging.
And we highlighted personal autonomy by mapping out our favorites and our hobbies, focusing on specific details like the pizza toppings to make our answers unique.
Tomatoes, peppers, and onions.
Exactly. And of course, we explored the surprising psychological power of the mild dislike, utilizing the negative space of a relatable annoyance to build instant rapport and authenticity.
The undeniable power of olive-hating solidarity. And finally, we learned the golden rule that makes this all work. Curation.
Context, context, context.
We don't dump the entire menu on a stranger at once. We select the 2 or 3 traits that perfectly match the context, whether we're standing in a formal boardroom or hanging out at a casual dinner party, leaving those irresistible breadcrumbs for easy follow-up questions.
It entirely transforms a moment of social anxiety into a moment of intentional strategy. The source material ultimately proves that the best introductions aren't summaries of our lives. They are just breadcrumb trails designed to start new friendships.
As we wrap up today's deep dive, we want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. Take a moment to look at your own personal menu of traits.
What's on your list?
Right. What is the one unexpectedly quirky detail or mild dislike from your own life, your personal equivalent of hating waiting in lines or having a delightfully sleepy cat, that you could confidently drop into your very next introduction to guarantee a fascinating follow-up question?
Identify that one specific detail. Once you have it, the next time someone asks you to talk about yourself, you won't experience that cognitive freeze. You will know exactly which breadcrumb to drop.
Remember, the next time you walk into that crowded party or that intimidating classroom and someone drops the "tell me about yourself" prompt, it's no longer a pop quiz you haven't studied for. The panic is entirely gone. It is simply an invitation, and you already have the perfect, curated response ready to go.